Hi, welcome back to the tutorial. So in this session we are going to see about the namespaces and scope in Python. So before getting into the formal definition, just see some analogy to explain what is namespace in general. Okay, so let's consider this as an analogy. So maybe if you take any car model, right, when you go to buy any particular car model, you are maybe the customer representative or anyone from the manufacturing side will explain you about the different variants in a particular car. Maybe we can consider a particular model of car. So in that maybe we have base variant, mid variant and top variant. Let's consider these are the different variants available in a car. So if you consider the base variant, there you will get only the basic things like the standard airbags, ABS, ESC. So these are the features available with the base variant. Okay, so this is just like a vanilla flavor, so you will not get any add-ons or anything, so it will be just like a plain thing. Okay, so next thing is the mid variant. So if you go for the mid variant, maybe you can get the music system and car infotainment system, maybe some other features. Okay, so this is about the mid variant, and if you go for the top variant, you will get features like sunroof and maybe the 360 camera and some other premium features. So these are the different variants. If you take any particular model of car, maybe these kind of variants you can see. Okay, so if you buy the base variant, you will not get any features of the mid variant or top variant. You will get only the basic features. And if you buy the mid variant, you will get the basic variant features plus the mid variant feature. Okay, and if you buy the top variant, you will get all the features of the base variant plus the mid variant plus the top variant. Okay, so if you buy the top variant car, you have the access to the features available with the mid variant or base variant. Okay, so this is about the car. Okay, the same thing is applicable to the namespace in Python or any other language. In particular, we are talking about Python. So if you consider the built-in namespace, it will have some set of objects available in that namespace. Okay, so you will have access to that particular built-in variable only. I mean built-in object only. And if you consider global, it has some set of objects available with it, as I explained in the car variant, right? So each variant will have some features, right? So similarly in each namespace you will have some set of objects available. Like that you will have some objects available in enclosing namespace, and finally in the local namespace you will have something which is available in the local scope. Okay, so if you have access, I mean if you try to access the how to say objects from local namespace, you have access to the enclosing as well as to the global as well as to the built-in namespace. Okay, and then if you try to access the objects from the enclosing, then you will have access to the global as well as built-in objects. So this is just like similar to the analogy that we have explained, right? So the top variant model will have the features of all the lower variants like the mid variant and then the basic variant. So the same thing is applicable in this namespace also, Python namespace also. Okay, so now let's get into the more formal definition part. So namespace is nothing but it is the place where the variable is stored. Okay, so if we store the variable in local, then we will call it as a local namespace, and if we store it in enclosing place, we will call that as enclosing namespace. And if you store any variable in module level, then we will call it as global. Okay, so this is the definition, and namespaces are implemented as dictionary. So I think we have not discussed about the dictionary data type. So maybe we got some introduction, right? So it is like the key value pair. So in case of namespace, the key is going to be your object name, and the value is going to be the actual object itself. So it is stored in that manner, like key value pair. And the namespace actually supports the modularity by preventing the name conflict. So as I said, the different objects are available in different namespaces, right? So this actually provides some kind of modularity, right? So you can think like that. Maybe in the upcoming videos, like when we discuss about the OOPS concept, like and like the when we discuss about the modules, you will get more idea. As of now, you just understand the basic things only, okay? And like we have we'll be talking something about the modules. So in this case, the built-in dot open and os dot open, right? So built-in and os is again a module, and open is a function in that. So it is like the scope is namespace is like the module namespace, that is it's kind of a concept, so we'll see that in the upcoming videos. So as of now, you just understand the definition. We will look into that more in detail more, okay? And yeah, it provide better readability, maintainability of the code. And yeah, for instance, writing random.seed or iter tools that displays makes it clear that those functions are implemented by random and iter module. So this is like random, right? Random is a module in Python, and iter tools is also a module in Python. So we will discuss about this more when we go to the module part, okay? So as of now, you just understand like namespace is nothing but a place where we store the variable, and then namespaces are just implemented by the dictionaries. And the namespace support some I mean it provide some kind of modularity. So as of now, if you understand this particular 3 point, it is well and good. Maybe in the upcoming videos we will see the other points in detail, okay? So that's all about the definition part. And as I said, in Python we have these four namespaces: built-in, global, enclosing, and local. Okay, so the first one we will see about the built-in namespace. So maybe in the previous videos we might have used some functions, right? Like print function. So these kind of functions we used, right? Print, and if you look at this one, let's say id. So these functions we used, but nowhere we included this function, or nowhere we defined this function, right? And from where we are getting this function, like from where the definitions are created, okay? We don't know, right? So basically these we call this as objects or functions, right? So this is basically stored in the built-in namespace. So built-in namespace is nothing but when you start your program, right? At the time the default I mean the default functions classes which are provided by the Python, right? It will be loaded into your uh, runtime. So we call this as built-in. Built-in is something like it's already there. So that's what we call it as built-in, right? So when you start your program, all the built-in objects will be loaded. So you can see the built-in objects using this keyword like underscore underscore built-in. Okay. So in order to get more details like what are all the objects or variable available here, we need to use this particular function dir. So these are the built-in methods or variables that are available in Python. See, we used int, len, int, id in the previous videos, right? So these are all available in the built-in namespace. So that's why we are not importing or anything, or we are not having the definition of any of the objects, because it's available in the built-in namespace. Okay, that's all about the built-in namespace. Okay, and the scope of the built-in namespace is like through your entire runtime, right? Through your entire lifetime of the program, this particular namespace you can access. Okay, and next one is going to be the global namespace. Global namespace is nothing but as of now you consider this particular program file, right? So this is going to be your start module. So from here only your execution start, right? So maybe as of now you understand, like whatever variable you are defining here, right, you can consider this as global variables, like it is in the global namespace. So we can consider this as global variables. So the definition is like the global namespace contain any names defined at the level of main program, that is your main module. Okay, and program creates the global namespace when the main program body starts, and it remain existence until the interpreter terminates. Like as long as your program run, right, at that time you will have the scope of these particular variables whatever there in the global namespace available. Okay, and then yes, second point, I think as of now it will be difficult for you to understand because so far we have not discussed about the modules, right? So maybe I will read out, we will see that later in the later video. So strictly speaking, this may not be only the global namespace that exists. The interpreter also creates global namespace for module that your program loads with the import statement. So basically the import is the statement which is used to load any particular module, right? So we call whatever variables defined in that module files, right? So that can also be considered as global variables. So that also come into global namespace. Okay, so that's all about the global namespace. And next thing is like we have local and enclosing namespace. So in order to understand these two namespace, you need to understand the nested function concept. So in programming language like C or C++, the nested functions are not available. That is not allowed in those languages. But in Python, right, you can have the nested functions. So nested function, what is meant by nested function? So in general, what is meant by nested? So nested is nothing but something inside something. In this case, a function within a function is called as nested function. Okay, so let's define one function. Let's say fun1. Okay, so let's consider x equal to 100 here, and let's say let's define another function. So I am defining another function inside this function fun1, and let's create some variable y equal to 200. Okay, let's print this y, and let's call this function 2 from here, and after calling, let's print the x variable. Okay, and finally call the function 1. If we execute it, the function 1 is called first, so the control goes here, and here we defined the variable x equal to 100, and again we have the another function 2 within this particular function of fun1, and here we have y equal to 200, and we are printing y, right? And after that we are just calling the function 2, that is we are calling the inner function, and then finally we are printing the x value. So when we call fun1, it will the function call will go here, and it will call the fun2 again. So fun2 will print 200 for you, and after printing 200 you are just going to print variable x. Okay, so we call this main function, right, this as enclosing function. Enclosing function, and this one is enclosed function. Okay, and the namespace for this enclosed function is local. So y is in local namespace, and the namespace for this x, right, because it is in the enclosing function, so we call this as enclosing namespace. So this variable, particular variable x, is in the enclosing namespace. Okay, so that's all about this enclosing and enclosed function, and the namespace for the enclosed function we call it as local namespace, and this one as the enclosing namespace. So this is the difference between the local and enclosed namespace. Okay. So this namespace exists until the corresponding function terminates. So if you call fun1, your control go here and finally it come out of this block, and you are calling here, right? So this particular namespace y, right, this will exist until this function call. After that it will be deleted, and after printing x, the control comes back to the main program. So once this function call is over, this one also get deleted. So the lifetime is not similar to the built-in or global namespace. So this variable lifetime will be deleted like after the function call. So that is what is explained here, and we discussed about the difference between the local and enclosing namespace as well as the function. Okay. Okay, let's see the variable scope. Okay, so whatever variables are in local are called local scope, and enclosing is in enclosing scope. Like that, whatever defined in the main program, right, main module, right, that is in the global scope or global namespace. These two words, namespace and scope, are interchangeably used, but let's see in detail. Okay, so let's see. I have a variable x here, x equal to, let's say 10. Here I have x equal to 100, and let me rename this one, x equal to 200, and I am printing x here, and after this function call, again printing x. So what do you think, what are the values will be printed? If you call function 1, the control goes here, and it will call function 2. So this particular print will be executed first. After this one, this print will be executed. After that, this print will be executed finally. Okay, let me execute that. See, this print is printing me the value as 200, and this print is printing the value as 100, and this print is printing the value of x as 10. Okay, so when you try to access the variable x, right, first it will check the local namespace. Since we have the x variable available in the local namespace, this printing 200, and again going back to the fun1, it will check the function in its local namespace. So it is there, so it is printing. If suppose this let's say this is deleted, okay, and now if you try to print x, it will check the local namespace. Since it is not available, so it is going to the enclosing namespace, but in the enclosing namespace it is available, so it will print 100. So output is going to be 100, then 100, and then 10. Let's see 100, right? So since it is not available in the local namespace, it is taking from the enclosing namespace. Let's delete it from the enclosing namespace also. Okay, so it will check in the local namespace, it is not available, and it is checking in the enclosing namespace, and in enclosing namespace also it is not available, so it will try to get it from the global namespace. Okay, so if you execute it, all is going to be 10, because your variable exists only in the global namespace, not in the enclosing or in the local namespace. Okay, so this is how the control flows. So it will go in this order. First it will check in the local, then it will check in the enclosing, then it will check in the global, and then finally it will check in the built-in. So let's delete it from the global also. I think the declaration is available, right? So let me delete that variable ex. So using this function, you can delete the variable x. Okay, so if you try to execute this again, you will get an error, x is not defined, because nowhere x is defined, right? Either in local, global, or anywhere it is not defined. Okay, so it is trying to get it from the built-in namespace, but in built-in namespace we don't have this particular variable. That's why it is throwing this error. So if I declare this variable ex equal to 100 here, First print will happen, second and third will not happen. See, this printing the variable 100, right? Because it is available in the local namespace. Similarly, if you put x here, first two print will work, but the last one will not work. Okay, because it's available in the enclosing as well as the local can get it from the enclosing namespace, but it is not available in the global namespace. Okay, so I hope you got my point. So let's move to the next topic. So we discussed about this single, double, and triple definitions, right? So triple means variable declared in global, enclosing, and in local. And double definition means variable declared in global and enclosing. And single means it's defined only in the global scope. And no definition means it is not at all defined. So we have seen these four scenarios so far. Okay, and let's see how to access the variables in global namespace. Okay, so let's delete this one. Let's say x, keep this. Let's define a variable x equal to -1. Okay, so for this one you have something like some function like global. So you can print the content of the global namespace using this particular function globals. Okay, so since I executed that, you can find see, you can see x equal to -1. So x equal to -1 is stored in the global namespace, right? Because it is defined at the module level. So we have x equal to -1. As I said in the definition part, the namespace is like a key value pair. So the key is going to be the variable name, and the -1 is actually going to be the object itself. So if I update x equal to -100, and I'm printing globals, right? So if you see x value, it got changed to -100. Okay, so using this one, we can update the. Let's see. Let's update this one. So you can update the value of x also using this global function. Let's. So now let me print this one first. So if you print here, you are getting -100, right? This is the value of x. So using the same thing, you can update the value. Let's say I am updating it as 0. Okay, let me print this again. See, where is that? X is now 0. The value is updated to 0. And using the same concept, you can define a new variable also. Let's say I'm defining a new variable x2. Maybe you can name it as y. Y equal to, let's say I am making it as 20. See, x we have 0, and finally we have y. Y value is 20. So you can just access the y value like this. See, it is printing 20, right? Nowhere we defined. We just added the y value to the global namespace using this global function, and after that we are just going to we can use the y data, I mean y variable. But since we have not defined, right, this particular what is ID is throwing the error since it is not declared. But we have added the y variable in some other way to the global namespace. Okay, so this is the purpose of global keyword. And similarly, you can access the local variables in the local scope or local namespace using the keyword local. So maybe I can print here locals. If I print locals, this is not reader. Let me see. This is printing, right? Maybe for readability I can add local. Is local. We have x 100 because local is again taking from the enclosing namespace. If maybe for more clarity we can define something in the local scope. See, x equal to 200. Okay, so this is how you can use the local, variable in the local namespace using the local method. Similarly, if we use the local function in module level, it will just behave similar to the global function. So it will print out all the variables available in that particular scope. Okay, so that's all about globals and locals function. And next thing is like, let's say I have a variable x in the enclosing namespace. I just want to maybe I have this variable, right, x equal to 100. In the function I want to use this particular variable x and I want to update it here. Okay, if I update here like without using if I update something like this, x equal to 10, or let's say x equal to x plus 10, if you print, right, or let's say x equal to 10, see here you are getting as x equal to 200 because it is there in the local scope. And again if you print, right, see this one is taking from the from its local namespace, and again this is taking from the its local its local means overall global namespace, right? Okay, so I have a requirement like in the within the function I want to take the value from the global namespace and I want to update it. So for that we need to use a keyword called global x. If I execute this one is printing me 200 because in its local namespace I have x, but this print is taking the value from x. It is taking from the global namespace. Since I marked it as global x, right, so it is taking it from the global namespace, and I can update the value like x equal to x plus 10. Now you can see this statement has updated the value of x globally because this print is also printing me 90 and this print is also printing me minus 90. Since this line number 14, right, this will take the variable only from the global namespace. Global namespace is minus 100, but we have updated here and we have used this global keyword. So if you use the global keyword, it will take the variable from the global namespace and it will make all the updates onto that particular global namespace. If you don't define this one, like if you define something like x equal to 100, that means you are creating one variable in your local namespace. No, you are not going to update anything in the global namespace. So that is the purpose of this particular keyword, global. Okay, so I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. So that's all for the global keyword. And next thing is like, yeah, so this is more formal definition. A global keyword is used to access and modify the global namespace from local and to create a new object in the global namespace from local. So that is the purpose of global keyword. And let's say I am creating one variable like global y equal to 100. This y is not declared in the module level, it is declared in the function level, but I can print this value outside the function also. See, I'm able to print 100, right? Similarly, if you define something like z equal to 100, and if you try to print that z outside your function, you will get an error. Z is not defined. As I said, the lifetime of the local or enclosing variables are within the function call. You cannot access that variable after the function is called. That's why it is throwing you an error. But y is not, because it is defined in the global namespace. You are adding this variable y to your global namespace. Okay, so that is the definition of this second point. And then, and you cannot access the global variable prior to the global variable reference. For example, you cannot do like this: x equal to 110 global x. If you do this, it will throw error like x name x is assigned to before global declaration. Okay, so this kind of access is not possible. And next thing is the non-local variable. The purpose of non-local keyword is like when you define a variable with this keyword, that keyword will take the variable from the namespace one step above to that. Okay, at the same time it cannot take the variable from the local or global namespace. Let me explain that. So this is working. Okay, let me define x equal to 10. Okay, this is working. Let's say I am declaring non-local x, and if I print x, this first print, right? This first print is taking the value one step above to that. Like it is taking from the enclosing function namespace. That is, it is taking from the enclosing namespace. But if I define this as global x, it will not work. Since I told you, right, it cannot take the variable from global or local namespace. Since this enclosing function is referring to the global, it will not work. Okay, so if I have a variable something x in its enclosing namespace, it will work, because enclosing namespace is one step above to the local namespace. Because if you take function 2, this x is actually it is in local namespace, but using non-local keyword you can take the variable from the enclosing namespace. Okay, so that's all about the non-local. And if you try to if you try to use non-local in the enclosing function, it will not work. because it will actually take it from the global namespace, because and global or local from the global or local namespace we cannot take the value using non-local. Okay, so that's why it is throwing this error. Okay, so I think we have covered all the concepts related to namespace and scope. So if you have any doubt, you can post it in the comments or let me know. I will try to help you on that. So that's all about the session. So we will see it in the next video. Thank you.